Hi, everybody. Here we are. We are at the end of our Peppermint Lane block of the month. This is a book I got from the Fat Quarter Shop. They just recently had a sale on this book for $5. I think regularly like maybe 18. Oh, 19.95 you see there. So they just recently did have this cheap. I know that they were pushing these out to some of the quilt shops to pick up and have them for good sales too. So if you're interested in doing this, you can definitely look online and take a look at your favorite quilt shop, or I don't know if there's on Etsy or anywhere like that, but I know the Fat Quarter Shop just recently had this. So I went month by month and took you along on this little journey so that, if you wanted to sew along, you could. Some of the months did have videos. I believe there is a finishing video. I don't believe I have that, but I think it is available on YouTube. So here is the finished product. It is, so this, to show it, I laid it on a bed that is a queen size bed, and as you can see, it does overlap the edges. So definitely it could go on a queen size bed for the holiday if you change out your quilts. Or, it would be if you had a large enough wall, you could do wall hanging for it, or just, have it. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with this, but I just knew that I was going to be keeping it and not gifting it to anybody. As you know, that's what I do with a lot of my quilts that I make. I've had questions, do I sell them? Yes, I would sell things if I had them, but I don't have any thing finished as far as in back stock to take to craft fairs and things like that. So now that everything is all finished, let me tell you what it is that I did. So I tried, I'm always on the web looking for um, things to make my quilting journey easier. And I came across a tutorial. A very nice lady showed how she uses the Elmer's washable no-run school glue to baste her quilt top to the batting and the quilt back to the batting. And so I thought, since this quilt was going to stay with me, I would give the old Elmer's glue a try, and then I would give you my opinion on how this worked. I will say that I was able to get the fabrics, the top and the back, to fuse better, as far as not having any puckers or ripples in the fabric. And I was able to use my hands and get it, out so that there wouldn't be any gaps in the fabric, so that when I did go ahead and do the quilting, I wouldn't have anything bunched up. I think there's only one place, and I want to say that it is here in the stocking, where it did do a little bit of something here, so I'm not really sure with that, but that is way less than what I have had in previous projects that I've worked on. So when I first glued it, you glue it and then you let it set for a bit. And then you, go ahead and do your machine quilting. I did straight lines. There's not really a rhyme or reason. I have some diagonal lines this way and diagonal lines this way. And then just, if I move this here, I don't know if you can tell, then there's just some straight lines interspersed between all of those diagonal lines. And so it didn't have any sort of residue on my needle as I was sewing through the glue on 2 layers. I did have to take a break from the quilt between the time that I put the uh, the quilting design on and when I did the binding. And so when I did go back to it, I could tell where the glue is because it's in those places I can feel the stiffness of the fabric. So at the very end of this, I'm going to give it a wash and see how the glue, supposedly the glue is supposed to wash all the way out, so we'll get to see what that looks like. And always when I gift my quilts, I give them a color grabber, and that's what I'm going to do because we have reds in here, and I don't want anything to be, bleeding into the white, which would be disastrous. And so I'm gonna use that when I finish. But as far as the binding, so the backing is, it's called Merry Little Christmas by Moda, but I don't think it's of the same fabric line of the fat quarter that I use because there is no checkered fabric in it. So it was fine. Again, it's for me. And it's very Christmassy for me, and so that's why I selected it for this project. So, and then with the binding, I don't like to do, or I don't usually do a lot of, different bindings. I'll either use the binding for the same as the backing or something that's on the top. So for this one, I decided to use the same fabric that I used on this outside bigger border here. And so it all just kind of blends in very nicely. So what I'm going to do now, so the finished product, I think when I measured it, it was maybe an inch bigger than what it's estimated to be. The pattern, let me see if I can find it in my book really quick. So in the book it says that the finished product is going to be 67.5 by 81.5, and as you can see here, my measurements were 68 by 82. So it's just a half an inch, but it may be more closer to the estimated once I squared it up from having the getting it ready for the binding. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it a wash, and then we'll look at it and see how the glue has come out, see if there's any hard spots, and see how the fabric washed with that glue. So we'll be back after the wash and rinse cycle. All right, so here we are. We're back. We've got the quilt all washed up. And as you know, when you wash quilts, they get that little wrinkly kind of been used look, which I like about quilted products. I like the crispness of it before it's washed, but I also like how they look once they've been washed. And so this has turned out very nicely. I have felt around where I last remembered there were hard spots due to the glue, but I have not come across any any of that. I thought about putting the machine on just for a quick 15-minute, but I didn't think that that was going to be enough to get the glue completely dissolved. So it went through the washer at a regular wash cycle. And so I have felt around. I know the border didn't have a lot, but some up at the top where the house is and the boys were, there was some glue. So there doesn't seem to be any of that. I felt it really quick once it got done in the washer, and I couldn't feel any of the hard spots. So then I tossed it in the dryer, and it dried quite nicely. So I think it looks beautiful. I think it's a project well worth completing. These types of Christmas things I just enjoy looking at. And so this will be a nice little quilt that can actually, get passed through family members. So you'll remember before we went to the wash cycle, I did throw in one of the color catchers, and they are pure white when you toss them in the machine. And this one you can see it's kind of got a little purpley kind of hue to it. I'm not sure if you can tell that with the sun coming in the window. Let me see if I can just get one for comparison. So that's mine, and that's how it went in. So you can see that it did grab some of the color, which is what they're designed to do. So you should only need to do that for your quilts the first time. A lot of the fabrics really don't run anymore. Sometimes when I'm starching red fabrics, the towel that I use does have a little bit of a red hue onto it. So some of the fabrics, it's probably depending on the manufacturer, the designer, the things that they use. But most quilting fabrics nowadays don't, bleed anymore. But it's always safe to have that just so that you got all your bases covered. So that's that. This fabric line, and the backing fabric is a Kona white. That frayed a lot. It unraveled a lot. And this fabric itself, actually, I didn't notice it as I was making each one of the months. But as I was piecing it together, the more I clipped the threads, the more they unraveled. So this fabric line definitely does a lot of fraying. So I did have that to deal with. And that's that. So I thank you for watching month by month as I journeyed through the Peppermint Lane block of the month. So every once in a while I get into a reassessing mode, and so I have decided, I purchased this pattern from Etsy, and I purchased it because I watched a tutorial from Donna Jordan of Jordan Fabrics, and I just like, when she does projects, she makes everything seem as though they're very easy. I have not used this pattern. I've not made it. I did take it out of the little pouch to look at the pattern when it arrived, and there was some sort of a label that was half sticking on, so I took it off. So I put a sticky here so that it doesn't stick to all my other patterns. But this has never been used. I've never made it, and I'm deciding that it's not something that I want to make any longer. So I am going to do a giveaway and give away this pattern. The only catch is that it's going to be sent out only in the United States. So I'm not sure if you're a subscriber from overseas, but this opportunity is just for those subscribers who are in the United States, or whoever's stopping by and getting this video. And so in order to determine who the lucky recipient is, the first person who makes a comment below Peppermint Lane Block of the Month will be the recipient of this pattern called Dresden Bloom. So once again, thank you for stopping by Sassy Sonya Sews, and as always, happy sewing.